Hey everybody, Miss Binns here. I'm just going to go over the last piece of elimination. So this is elimination day 2, as you will see it on our plan for Unit 4. This is going to be video part 3 of elimination because it's just another way to, it might be presented to you. So basically, what if there are no common coefficients? So when we were looking earlier at the other problems, we saw that like this was 2x matched with 2x. In this case, it's x and 2x, okay? So they're different. And then looking at the y's, I have a 3 and a negative 7. So they're different numbers is what we're looking at here. So looking at the second one, it's not 3y and negative 3y. They're just two completely different numbers. So we're basically going to figure out how to deal with those. So in this case, looking at number 1, we kind of just want to, we got to multiply our equation or one of our equations by something in order to get it to have the same number with those variables. Okay, so we can have those matching or opposite coefficients basically. Alrighty, so looking here, as I said, I have x and 2x. I have 3y and 7y. So looking at this one, I want to think, is there something that I can multiply one of these equations by so the coefficient is the same as the other problem? It's kind of what it comes down to. So in this case, x and 2x would probably be the same one, okay? So, or the easiest one, I should say, sorry. Okay, so looking at this, technically this x up top has a 1 with it. So technically we have a 1 right there. Okay, so what can I multiply by 1 to get it to be 2? Okay, so that's kind of the thought process you want to think about. All right, so in this case, I'm going to multiply this whole top equation by 2. So we're going to multiply it by 2. So multiply by 2. Okay, because if I do 2 times 1, it's going to give me 2, which is what we want. Alrighty, so bear with me here. So I'm going to take this 2 and I'm going to distribute it to the 1. Here, let me change the color then there for a second. I'm going to take this 2 and I'm going to distribute it to the 1. Okay, so in return, that's going to give me 2. Let me space this out a little bit. So that's going to give me, when I do 2 times 1x, it's going to give me 2x. When I do 2 times 3, because you're going to want to distribute whatever you're multiplying it by everything that's in the parentheses. Okay, so 2 times 3y is going to give you positive 6y. Alrighty, and then when I do 2 times 6, that's going to give you equal to 12. Okay, so you're just basically converting that top equation so it kind of resembles the bottom equation as far as the coefficients go. So then I'm just going to copy over this bottom equation. So you have 2x. Oh boy. So 2x minus 7y equals -1. And so then now we're back to the ones that we learned about in the videos part 1 and 2, where these are the same number. And now it's going to be easier to eliminate them is what it comes down to. Alrighty. So it's just kind of adding one more step in there. Alrighty, so as we did with the other ones, okay, we're going to kind of draw our line here. We're going to treat it as a big addition or subtraction problem. In this case, these 2 here are the same number, so I'm going to multiply the whole bottom equation by a -1, or just a negative, okay? So remember, when you do that, that changes all of those signs. So that's going to end up being 2x, this positive 7y, and then this is going to turn to a positive 1, okay? So then now, when we do this here, 2x minus 2x, yep, that one's going to cancel. It's going to eliminate, which is what our whole plan was, okay? Now, as I keep going, 7y plus 6y, okay, that is going to give us, what do we got? 13y. And then I'm going to do the same thing, 12 plus 1 on the end there is going to give us 13, okay? And then we need to solve it, so we're going to need to divide by 13, and then these would eliminate, technically. And then y equals 13 divided by 13 gives us 1. So that's our y for this equation, alrighty? So then now you're just going to go back and you're going to plug that 1 in for y in one of the other equations. So in this case, I'm just going to do the bottom one right here because it's just easier. So I'm going to do 2x. See if I can get this to cooperate with me. So I have 2x minus 7, and then I'm going to take that y we just found. In this case, it's 1. And I'm going to plug it in, and then equals negative 1. And then you just have to solve it. Okay, so this 2x is going to stay the same. Negative 7 times 1 right here, that turns to negative 7 equals negative 1. Okay, and then now we're just down to a two-step equation. So draw your little line. In order to get rid of a negative 7, got to make it a positive 7, so we got to move our friends here. Alrighty, these eliminate over here, the 7s cancel out. We are left with, I'm going to kind of write it off to the, write it off the side a little bit. So 2x equals negative 1 plus 7 is going to give you 6. Alrighty, and then my last step for this one here is going to be to divide by 2, divide by 2. Sorry, my 2's aren't looking the greatest, but all right. And then when we are done there, these eliminate. You're left with x equals, and 6 divided by 2 gives us 3. And then again, you have to write your answers in ordered pairs. Okay, so make sure you write your x first. In this case, 3 is my x, 1's my y. Toss them in parentheses. Boom, call it a day. Alrighty, so that's how you're going to do these when they don't already have common coefficients with the numbers there and whatnot. Alrighty, so I'm going to jump down and I'm going to do number 6 with you guys. So number 6 is going to be a little different, so it's going to be on the back side of this paper. Okay, so number 6, you're going to want to do the same thing. Okay, except we got to look at and see which one's going to be easiest. So is there a number that I can quickly multiply these ones by? Okay, kind of. Okay, are these the same? Okay, so is there a way I can get from 3 to 6 or 6 to 3? Or is there a way I can go from y to 2 easier? Okay, in this case, the easiest one is going to be getting those y's to be the same. Okay, so we're going to kind of look at those. These y's, I'm going to work on getting those to be the same number. Alrighty, so looking at, technically there's a 1 there. Let me see if I can get this pen to work. So you technically have a 1y. So how can you get from 1 to that 2 down there? So what times 1 will give you 2? Okay, actually it is 2. So I'm going to multiply the top one, multiply it by 2, kind of like I did with the one on the front. Alrighty, so then in doing so, I'm going to take the 2, I'm going to multiply it by the 3, so that's going to give us 6x. I'm going to take the 2, multiply it by the 1 there, plus 2y. And I'm going to take the 2, multiply it by the 2, which is going to give us equal to 4. So that's our new equation, okay? And then I'm just going to bring over the bottom one. So I have 6x plus 2y equals 4, alrighty? So then now we do have, okay, so I have 6's here, and then I also have 2's here. So both of the coefficients kind of match. So in this case, you just have to figure out how you can eliminate them. And remember, we do that by making them opposites. So I'm just going to look at the bottom one, and I'm just going to multiply this bottom one by a negative. And remember, when you do that, it switches the sign. So technically, this becomes a negative, and this 4 becomes a negative, okay? So then, looking at this, 6, let me just highlight quick. Alrighty. 6 minus 6, those are going to eliminate, okay? And those are going to cancel out. 2, technically minus 2, those are also going to eliminate. So I'm going to be left with 0 on this side of the equation. Alrighty. And then on the other side of the equation, 4 minus 4 actually turns out to be 0 as well. Okay? And then this is where you got to think about it. Does 0 equal 0? Are they the exact same number? Are they the exact same spot on the number line? In this case, yes, they are. So that means this one is infinite solutions. Alrighty. So then that's going to be kind of one of those special case ones for you guys. So I did want to just make sure you had an example of that. And then now I just want to jump down and do 8 really quick, just because this one's going to be a little bit different and a little bit more complicated. Alrighty. So looking here, as you can see, we have no coefficients that are the same with our variables. Okay, so we need to fix it then. So I can't do 3 times something to give me 5, and I can't do 3 times something to give me 4. So we can't just simply multiply this by 2 like we did for the last two. So in this case, we're going to have to kind of think about it a little bit. So we're going to have to think of the common factors and the multiples of these numbers. So in this case, 3 and 4 are smaller numbers, so I'm just going to deal with those ones, okay? So what can I do to get these to be the same number? Alrighty, so in this case, I'm just going to kind of guide you through this one. Okay, so this top one, I need to multiply it by something, okay? And I'm going to need to multiply the bottom one by something as well in order to get them to be the same coefficient. So in this case, I'm just going to multiply the bottom by 3, okay? Because I already know the top is 3, so if I do that, so I'm just going to basically multiply these by each other. So when I do 4 times 3, that's going to give you 12x. 4 times 3 is going to be 12y. 4 times 9 gives you 36, alrighty? And then I'm going to do the same thing on the bottom. What does 3 times 15 give me? Oh, that gives me 15, or 3 times 5 gives me 15. Sorry, jumping ahead. 3 times 4 is going to give me positive 12y. As you can see, my coefficients are kind of looking a little bit more similar now. And then 3 times 10 gives me 30. Okay, so then now we're back to, we have to have the coefficients be opposites in order to eliminate them. So in this case, I'm going to multiply the bottom by a negative, because as you can see, I have 12s with the y's, okay? So I want those to be the same, so I can go ahead and eliminate them. So I'm going to change this one to, so the 15 is going to be negative, 12 is actually going to turn to a negative, and the 30 is going to turn to a negative, alrighty? So then when I do my math, 12 minus 15 is going to give me negative 3x. My 12s are going to eliminate, and then 36 minus 30 is going to give me 6. Now I'm down to a one-step equation. I'm going to divide by 3, divide by the negative 3. X is going to equal 6 divided by negative 3 is going to give me negative 2. I know I'm kind of going through this one fast. I just want to try to squeeze it on the same video. All right, and then now you have to take this. We have to take our 2, it's what x equals, and just plug it into one of the equations. I'm just going to plug it in the top one just because it seems easiest for me. All right, so I have 3. I'm going to plug in the x we just found. So in this case, it is negative 2 plus my 3y equals 9. And then I just have to go ahead and I have to solve it. Alrighty, so I'm going to do this 3 times the negative 2, which is going to come out to be negative 6 plus the 3y, and then equals your 9. Alrighty, and then now you're just down to a two-step equation. So you're going to need to move this negative 6 first. So you're going to add 6. Alrighty, these cancel out on this side. You're left with 3y equals 9 plus 6 gives me 15. And then 3y equals 15. You got to divide there by 3. Divide by 3. Y equals 15 divided by 3 gives me 5. And again, you have to write these as a ordered pair. So you're going to write parentheses, negative 2, parentheses, 5. There's your answer, and we're going to call it a day. I know I went through these ones fast. If you guys need more examples, I know this part is probably going to be the most confusing. So if you need more examples, let me know, and I can go back through and I can make another video for you guys to kind of give you more guidance. But please don't freak out about these ones. Yeah, just bear with me already. So let me know if you have any questions. Thanks, guys.